Let us now take another sutram which assigns the karma sanya. The sutram here is 1452. Gati buddhi pratyavasanartha shabda karma karmakanam ani karta sa now. The sutram comes right after the sutram which we just studied, 1451, akachitancha. Right after that is this sutram 1452. The vritti of this sutram says, Gatyadyarthanam shabdakarmakanam karmakanam chanau yah karta sarnau karma syat. Which means that a karta, the agent of the action, of a non-causal verbal root, that is what is meant by arnau karta, the agent of the verbal root in the non-causative state, becomes the karma, the object of the causal verbal root. The same verbal root, when it takes the causative affix nich, then the one who was the agent in the non-causative state becomes the object in the causative state, but provided the verbal root is in one of the following three categories. The first category is that the verbal root denotes either gati, movement, or buddhi, perception, or pratyavasanam, consuming. In the sutram we have gati, buddhi, pratyavasanartha. That artha, the meaning, it connects to all three of these. So we get gatyartha, buddhyartha, pratyavasanartha. That's why we say verbal root which denotes. That's the artha, either movement, perception, or consuming. Second category is shabda karmakanam. The verbal root has shabda, sound, as its object. Here sound is used in the specific sense of chanting the Veda or expounding the Veda, or by extension expounding or studying a text. In the old days there was no writing as such, all the study was by reciting. It's a verbal tradition. So here sound means the sound of reciting. Third category is verbal root that has no object at all, akarmakanam. So if we have a verbal root which is in one of these three categories, then the agent of that verbal root in the non-causative state becomes the object of that same verbal root when used in the causative state. Basically, when we add the affix nich by 3126 hetumaticha, which we have studied, then the one who was the agent of such a verbal root becomes the object when the causative is used. There's a very nice verse which gives an example of each of these three cases. The verse is as follows: Shatru nagmyed swargam vedartham swan vedayat आशयच devan vedamadhyapayad vidhim आसयत सलिले पृथ्वीं व्यस्समे श्री हरिर gatihi. The first part says Shatrun agamyat swargam. We have to connect yaha with each one of these. So the one who made his enemies go to heaven. This verse is quoted in the Siddhanta Kaumudi, and below the Tattvabodhini commentary explains it very nicely. It gives the non-causative form as Shatravaha swargam agachan. The enemies went to heaven. The non-causative state, the enemies are the agents of the action. What happens in the causative state? Tan shatrun Shri Harihi. Shri Hari is the prayojakaha. He is the causator. He made the enemies go to heaven. Swargam agamayad. So what happened here is that the Shatravaha, who were the agents in the non-causative state, they become the object in the causative state. And of course, once they get the karma sanya, then by 232 karmani dvitiya, they take the dvitiya vibhakti. In this case, dvitiya bahuvachanam. So we get the form Shatrun. We have to check if the verbal root is in one of the three categories. This one is the verbal root gam, which of course is in the sense of movement. So it satisfies that condition. It's very important to check the verbal root is one of the three categories. Otherwise, this phenomenon does not happen. Tattvabodhini clearly explains this example as follows: Gameranyantavasthayam shatravaha kartaraha. Which means that when gam was in the shuddha avastha, without the causation, then shatravaha kartaraha, the enemies of the doers of the action of going. And further, te nyantavasthayam karma abhavan. They became the object of the action when the causation possession was introduced. So Lord Vishnu made the enemies go to heaven. Similarly, Vedartham Svana Vedayata explained as follows: Sve meaning Swakiyaha, his own, meaning the gods. Vedartham Viduhu, they knew the meaning of the Vedas. Tan Shri Harir Vedartham Vedayata, Lord Vishnu made them understand the meaning of the Vedas. Sve are the agents in the non-causative state. They are the ones who knew the meaning of the Vedas, but when the causation is introduced, they become the object. Lord Vishnu made them understand the meaning of the Vedas. So, Svana Vedayata. And of course, when we assign the Karma Sanya, then by 232, Karmani Dvitiya, Dvitiya Vibhakti, in this case, Bahuvachanam, Shas, is prescribed when we get the form Swan. Now, which category is this? This is the next category, the category of perception, understanding. So Lord Vishnu made his own understand the meaning of the Vedas. The third example here is Ashayach Amrutan Devan. Similarly, Tatha Devaha Amrutam Ashnan. The gods consumed, partook of the nectar. Tan Ashayat. Sri Harihi Tan Devan Ashayat. Lord Vishnu made them consume the nectar. This is a category of Pratyavasanam, consuming. Devaha are the agents in non-causative, they become the object in the causative. Next one is Vedam Adhyapayad Vidhim. Vidhi Vedam Adhyaita. Vidhi in this case Brahmaji. He studied the Veda. Tam Brahmanam Vedam Adhyapayat Apatayat. Sri Harihi, Lord Vishnu made Brahmaji study the Veda. The first part, the non-causative part, is Vidhi Vedam Adhyaita. Brahmaji studied the Veda. Causative part is Shri Harihi Brahmanam Vedam Adhyapayata. So Brahma, which is same as Vidhi, is the agent in the non-causative, becomes the object in the causative. This is the category of having sound as the object. As we explained before, here sound meaning recitation, particularly recitation of the Veda. Next example is Asayat Salile Prithvim. Salile Prithvi Asta. The earth was sitting on the water. Tam Prithvim Yo Harihi Asayat. Sthapayati Sma. The one who established means made the earth sit on the water. So the earth, Prithvi, is the agent in the non-causative, becomes the object in the causative state. And finally, we complete the construction by Same Shri Harihi Gatihi. That Lord Vishnu who did this, who caused this, is my goal, is my destination. So whenever we have a sentence involving a causative form of a verbal root, we have to think of this sutram and check the verbal root falls in one of these categories and accordingly assign the karma sanya.